Why is it that Lucifer gets his own series, and all I get are boring Sunday morning evangelists? Listen, take it from me. The big guy wants you to be creative. If he didn't, how can you explain Post Malone or K-pop? Dad and my good friends at Indie Originals want you to be creative too. For the first time since creation, Indie Originals wants to critique your creation in a positive light. Lazy people find the negatives, but Indie Originals will take the time to find the light. I may have given them a few pointers. Send your music, movies, books, and games to the fine folks at Indie Originals. Jesus out.
This is Indie Originals Live, the world's #1 source for independent music. The official host and sponsor of IndieCon, and the official Indie Originals music, literature, and film competition. Heard every Friday at 9 on 16 radio stations all across the United States and globally on podcast everywhere. Find all our back episodes on Spotify, on iHeartRadio, on iTunes, on YouTube, and at www.indieoriginals.com. Featuring your hosts, Chuck Fresh and Felicia B. Lawrence A. Carastro had one simple goal in life: to protect and to serve. As a young man, L.A. got his dream job, only to have it taken away prematurely. A few strange turns of fate later, Carastro found himself in a federal prison for drug trafficking. During his prison stay and in the years that followed, Carastro traveled down a road to redemption that led him from 3 hots in a cot to earning a Ph.D. from the Georgia Institute of Technology. Today, he has achieved his goal to protect and to serve as an electrical engineer working on projects that keep Americans safe with the United States Navy. But he took one hell of a road. Carastro, now 67, documented that road he traveled in his memoir called The Bus Ride Back. The title refers to the 20-hour bus trip Carastro took to Miami after he was released from prison. His storytelling earned his memoir first place for Best Nonfiction in the 2019 Indie Originals book competition. Indie Originals Chuck Fresh sat down with L.A. Carastro to talk about his book and his crazy adventurous life. This is Indie Originals.
What an amazing story. Yeah. The Bus Ride Back. Great read. Mm-hmm. You're an amazing storyteller. Mm-hmm. And I can completely see this being a documentary, if not a full-length movie. Mm-hmm. Incredible story. So
Thank you, Chuck.
Let's start at the beginning. Did the bus have a toilet? I mean, we're talking a 20-hour ride.
Oh, yeah. Good question. Very good question.
And what year was this? When your bus ride actually took place?
1990.
Wow. 1990. So, yeah. We did have toilet engineering and technology back then on buses?
Oh, yeah. It was sort of a two-sided blade, though. It was good to have, but then because of the airflow issues, bad when the door opened and the people came out and everything. So
you didn't sit in the back, did you?
Yeah, at first glance, it was great. You come out of the back and everybody's living with this funk for about 30 minutes.
What seat were you in? Do you remember?
I was in sort of the middle of the bus, next to the window, but it was dark and there was a bathroom, but there was also a lot of darkness, and you know, I was coming back from to what I have no idea. I was 40 years old. I couldn't tend bar anymore. I couldn't be a policeman anymore. I couldn't do anything anymore. I don't know, work at a fast food joint or something, I guess, maybe. Really.
Kind of like rebooted your life, so to speak, had to start all over again.
Oh, yeah, like I was 15 or something.
Oh,
yeah.
man.
So I when the bus eventually stopped in Miami, I was going to step off to something I had no idea, but it wasn't pretty. Yeah. I had, we'll talk about it later probably, but I had some people behind me, some people that encouraged me. There was, and that's basically what I understood in the bus was hope. Yeah. I just relived everything. I relived, what brought me there.
That's really what the story is about. It's hope. It's about resetting everything, and that you do have a future even after things go incredibly wrong.
Yeah, if there's nothing else there but hope,
Yeah.
that's pretty powerful.
So many people give up, especially when they've gone through, and we'll talk about it. And if you read this book, you'll see exactly what Dr. L.A. Carastro went through. Doctor. Do you make Sherry call you doctor sometimes?
Occasionally.
Yeah. How's that work?
Good. She really likes it. Because, yeah.
It sounds
she was
like
there. Yeah, she worked on me like a hammer and a nail.
I mean, really, if you think about it, it's like Dr. L.A. It almost sounds like you're a breast surgeon in Hollywood.
In L.A.
Is that what you do? Practice that too, doctor?
And I'm good with that. Yeah.
You gotta keep your hands in everything, right?
Exactly. I've tried to make that part of my skill set. Yeah.
So, doctor.
Locally.
Talking about your expertise, have you or are you concerned with photon interference in telecommunications, doctor?
Short answer, no.
That's good.
There's basically 9 areas in electrical engineering, and I'm in the areas that concentrate on wireless transmission of signals. So I work on wireless components.
Like cell phones?
Cell phones, laptops, anything wireless. I design and develop the circuitry that makes all those work.
That's not bad for a bartender.
Yeah. It's
an amazing.
I know it.
So what do you do you're an electrical engineer? You call it?
Yeah, I'm an electrical engineer.
You design these filters.
I design circuits, digital circuits, analog circuits, filters.
Keep it simple for people like me.
Filters that allow the signal to come into your cell phone. Like your cell phone has probably 10 different filters in it that allow the signal to come in all at the same time.
What are we filtering out?
Other signals. So you're just getting the filet mignon of what you want.
Do radios, like your conventional AM, FM radio, have filters in it too?
Sure.
Otherwise, you just pick up everything and it'd be a disaster.
It's a big, it concentrates on a range of tight range of frequencies that bring in the information and allow you to, it's all, it's basically wire in the air.
Yeah.
And so every band of frequencies is another wire in the air. You can't see the wire. Yeah. The wire is actually the air.
And very quickly, is 5G going to melt my brain? I mean, further than it's already melted?
I'm working on 5G right now.
You are?
Yeah.
Is it scary?
I'm good.
No problems?
No, I have no problems yet.
I see no problem.
Yeah, no, it's not going to do any of that.
Okay, good.
No, not. It's going to be cheaper, smaller, faster.
We'll take it. As
you're
long
gonna
as
have
it's not cooking things inside of us, I'm okay with that.
No, not any more than anything's doing right now. Only kidding.
Let's take a walk back.
Yeah.
So you grew up, you're born in Miami?
Born in Miami, Florida, 1951. Yeah.
And you grew up there, say, like the 1960s?
Yes, yeah.
A little different than it is today?
Yes. Not as many flowers around. It was the flower children were there. When I was 9 years old in 1961, so I was all through the 60s.
Was it crowded down there? I know now South Florida is insane. The traffic is nuts, and there's just so many people.
No, the end of the world. We grew up. Sherry and I grew up in the same neighborhood.
Really?
Sherry wasn't.
You didn't know this.
No, not till later. Sherry wasn't the girl next door. She was the girl around the corner. She wasn't actually next door. She was around the corner. Right. And but the end of the world stopped at 87th Avenue before the Everglades and stuff, and that was the end of the world. The end of the world now is like 300th Avenue.
Wow.
And so that's the growth. The growth is it's like 2 orders of magnitude. It's crazy. It was a sleepy little town. I stumbled on we moved when I was 9 years old and really just across the little canal there and stuff into another area right up there and it just so happened to be sort of right next to a golf driving range.
Really?
And I had never seen a golf ball before. I never saw golf or anything like that. So I was out exploring one day in the weeds and stuff, and I found these golf balls, and I was like, oh my God, I've never seen one of those. Those look really cool. Yeah. A golf ball, with little holes in it and everything and stuff. And so I was in there and I was picking them up and putting them in my pocket and stuff because they obviously didn't belong to anybody. They were in the weeds. And all of a sudden I looked up and there was a 1957 T-Bird blue. and this was 1961, so it was sort of a brand new
Still
car
new,
back
yeah,
then.
yeah.
Yeah. Coming down the grass, coming over to where I was, and a guy jumped out of the car, and he was an older fella, and he came over to me, and he goes, why are you stealing my golf balls? And I was like, I didn't. I was scared. I didn't know. I didn't know. They don't belong to anybody. They're here. And he goes, oh no, they belong to me. And he says, I tell you what. Why don't I give you a bucket and you pick all the golf balls up, and you bring them back. I'll let you hit them out for free.
Nice.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. So
Now, he didn't make you do this while people were hitting golf balls, right?
well, I was in the weeds, so I wasn't really on where they were hitting the golf balls.
Well, how'd they get the balls in the weeds?
They missed them and they went over the fence. Yeah,
Wow.
Yeah, and they went over the fence into the weeds, and nobody would ever pick them up.
Is that like
It was
400
thousands.
yards?
No, it wasn't too far. The driving range itself was about 300 yards.
Yeah.
This way, and probably 200 yards in width. And but it was over the fence, over in the area, and they'd bounce around a little bit. But they weren't all that far out. They were like if you shank one or something, or hook
I
it or
did
something
that
like
all
that.
the time.
Yeah.
I was the world's worst golfer.
Yeah. But they, it was amazing. There's a lot of things I could have done then. I could have hidden. He would have never found me. I could have run away, and he would have never chased me. And
But you stood up, huh? Stood up and said,
yeah, and
"Hey."
I could have never come back, and that would.
You stood up and showed him your balls.
Well,
Is that what you did?
I thought it sounded interesting, so I go, well, yeah. And so I was like 9 years old. So he gives me a bucket, and I picked him up, and I did that for the next 7 years.
That's neat. That's a great opportunity.
It was
Learn how to
amazing.
play golf too?
He taught me how to play golf. I was on a
Wow.
golf team in high school. I was
Nice.
playing bogey golf when I was 12.
Wow.
Yeah, hitting 1,000 balls a day. I had all the pros teaching me. It was unbelievably, a unique opportunity. I was like a boy in a pie shop. It was, these guys were just so forthcoming, and I guess I was sort of a friendly little guy. They didn't mind helping me and stuff, and I always worked. I always liked to make things look good and stuff. So I'd clean the windows and I'd do all this stuff, and he started paying me. He'd pay me
Nice.
$1 a week.
Wow.
And I don't know, big money back
I'll take
then.
$1
Yeah, back in the '60s, $1 a week. Yeah, tax free. Yeah, well,
He's not around here
Yeah,
anymore.
right.
57, nice.
But and then the pros, they had a couple of pros there, and then the guys that were working there from high school and stuff. I got close with those guys. They were like brothers, and we all used to go play golf together. And yeah, when I was in high school, I was on the golf team in high school.
Let me ask you this. So in your 20s, a little bit later on,
Yeah.
you decide you want to pursue a career in law enforcement. Did golf have anything to do with that? Did you meet any policemen there or something?
Oh, yeah, sure. Well, the contribution that had was, it's, being in a driving range is a dangerous place, really.
Yeah, sure.
There's a lot of golf balls flying, golf clubs swinging, and so and we'd get people hit every once in a while with the golf balls and with golf clubs, and it's bad.
Guilty.
Yeah. Oh, really? Oh, no. Really? Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's another story. And
We'll wait for my interview.
Yeah. And so I took it on myself, just to, be there, and especially on the weekends when the kids from high school were there playing with their girlfriends, and it was miniature golf was there too, so they had that and everything, and so I just made everybody safe, and I always watched over them, always watched over everybody, and plus it was great. I was working with adults, and we had sports figures, we had movie stars, we had just all these people I'd see on TV, and they were all my customers, and it was just like a dream. But getting back to where I really got my teeth into police work was my sister, who was 2 years older than me, was going out with this Metro-Dade policeman, and he was a big guy. He looked like Captain America. Back then he was a motorman, so he was with the boots and the whole deal, and his name was Scott, and I really looked up to him. And she ended up breaking up with him and marrying another guy. But Scotty and I were friends, and so when she got married, my whole family is from Tampa. So my dad's family, we were the only ones in Miami. So the whole family came down. So I had to go hide somewhere, or go sleep somewhere, because my parents' house where I was living when I was 17 was all booked up. So I went over to Scotty's house. And Scotty said, you can just stay here for a week, Well, it was another one of those things where I never left. And I stayed there. I lived with Scotty for, 4 or 5 years. But I was 17, 18, 19. And then, you know, when I was there with all the policemen and all these salty cops and stories, and that's what I wanted to do. And it just fell in line with the driving range thing and just wanting to protect and serve and just watch people and just make sure they're all right.
So in the bus ride back, you tell a story about shooting a gun out of a man's hand.
Yeah.
From how far away?
About 20, 25 feet.
So you can
at night through a bush.
What kind of gun?
I had a
Like a rifle? Are we talking with a scope?
no.
Like a handgun?
It was a pistol. Yeah, we didn't have Glocks back then, semi-automatic pistols. We had revolvers.
Wow.
And it was
You can actually aim and shoot a gun out of a guy's hand.
I don't know where this came from. It's just one of those things you can do in life. You had no idea and you didn't really do. Maybe it was the golf. Maybe it was the hand-eye coordination of the golf. I have no idea. But whatever I could see, I could put a bullet right in the middle of it.
Wow.
No matter where it was. 50 yards, 50 feet, it didn't matter. You know, if I could see it, I could put it, and I could put a bullet right in the middle of it.
Wow.
And then when I was in the police academy, I shot 300 out of 300. A perfect score.
Is that like a legend?
Yeah,
You still
yeah.
have
I don't
a
think it's ever
plaque
been
up
matched.
there?
Yeah, I got a big trophy.
Wow.
My trophy is.
You want to see the
Yeah,
trophy?
I got my trophy.
Yeah, we'll show that.
Yeah,
We'll
yeah.
show
I still have my trophy. Yeah,
Amazing.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. So that, but it was, I was never a gun guy. I never had a gun before, after, or anything like that. Not that I'm against guns in the least bit. It's good to have one when you need it. The only problem is I sort of work in another way. I stay out of bad areas, and I have alarm systems, and I do things like that, so I don't have to, because accidents happen with those. They're more prone to accident than anything else, and I don't know if I could live with myself if I was involved in an accident with one.
Right.
When I was a policeman, there was one on my side all the time, and I was more than capable of using it without any hesitation. If that's what my brain said to do while I evaluated a situation, that's what exactly I would do, not look back and not regret anything.
Yeah.
But if I didn't have to,
You mentioned in the book that you shot the gun out of this guy's hand, and they gave you grief for that.
Yeah, you're not, they.
You have to read the story. You have to read the bus ride back to get the full story. I don't want to give too much away here, but
they're sort of they don't endorse that. You don't
they may
shoot.
be different today, but this is
same thing. Yeah, same thing today. You don't crank off a warning shot. You don't do that. Bing. No, you don't do that.
Yeah.
You pull your gun out. You shoot for the torso of the person. And
wow.
let fate take a hand and stuff. That's what you do. You do not shoot the leg out. You don't do this or that. You don't do that. You pull that thing out and you shoot for one location. It's the torso of the person.
So you knocked the gun out of his hand, and they had a problem with that.
Yeah. Well, it was Sunday night. It was 10 o'clock at night.
Don't give away the whole story. You got to read this because he
Yeah.
tells it beautifully.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
cinematic,
Yeah.
to say the least. So you had some problems while you were on the force.
Yeah.
Somewhere in South Florida.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
And you talk about this in the book too. It ultimately led to you leaving the police force.
Right. Yeah, it did. Yeah.
And you found. We'll skim over that for now, because you tell it again very eloquently in the book, and it's great. And you need to read this book, The Bus Ride Back, and we'll have the links and everything below this video. So definitely pick up a copy of this book. It's an amazing read. And before it becomes a movie, you'll be able to say, hey, I read that before it became a movie, and wow, this movie sucks, but the book was really good. So you want to be on that side. You know what I mean? So after you were a policeman, you jump in the bar business. You become a bartender?
Yes.
Same area in South Florida?
Right. Yeah. I basically left the police department I lost my passion. I was separated.
You seem like you'd be a terrific police officer.
I did some good things. I was a humanitarian from the driving range. It's all from the driving range. I like people. I really like people. I don't want to hurt people. I want to help them no matter what I got to do. And but bottom line, it's it's a pretty crazy world out there. If I can add some sense to it and bring people down on on their feet and ground people and help people get through bad situations. That's what I was there for. My job was
people as a bartender too, right?
It's
almost like a psychologist.
I exactly did
Right?
that. Yeah. Except I had a bar towel, not a gun, at that point.
It could be equally as dangerous.
But I did. I carried it over. Yeah. So basically, my job as a policeman was to stand in between trouble and you.
Yeah.
No matter who you were. That's why I respect those guys now so much. How do you pay somebody to take a bullet for you? Take a bullet for someone you don't even know.
Right.
But your job is to stand in between trouble and them. Yeah. And whatever happens to you happens. A bullet, anything. That is your job. That's what you're paid for.
A little scary.
And so it's more of a calling.
Yeah.
It's more of a calling. When I lost that, I lost my passion. I was a shell of a man after that until actually recently, when I started writing the book and figuring out what exactly happened.
Well, you got into bartending, and you seemed to enjoy that. You were very successful at that in South Florida in the 80s, right?
Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah. You made a bunch of money at a bunch of different places.
It was when I was a kid, when we were kids, 16, 17, there was Vince Marciano. I can say that name all day.
Yeah,
Vince
sure.
passed away. He had a pizza parlor down in South Miami, and we all hung out there as kids. And he had a couple of daughters, and we all hung out. We were all really good friends. And he decided to get in the bar business right about the time that I was leaving the police department. And he called me on the phone, and he said, I want to give you an opportunity. What about, have you ever thought about tending bar? And my friends, because I used to work out a lot and everything at the gym, and a lot of them tended bar, and it was really sort of cool down there and stuff. I sort of like that. And so he brought me in. He bought a bar and he brought me in and taught me the bar business. And it was really unique because he bought it from the guy that was probably the father of the bar business down in Miami. I don't know if you're familiar with Big Daddy's Lounges.
I'm not.
We had one in Philly. There was one in Philly. They were all in South Florida. They were in Hollywood. They were up by the racetrack. They had one by the racetrack, Gulfstream.
I've been a little before my time.
They were in the 60s, 70s.
I came up in the 80s.
Did you?
Garden, 80s,
They may have
90s.
been whining away then a little bit, but he was one of the architects for that.
What was his name, the guy that?
Dick Weiss
Yeah.
was. Joe Flanagan was Big Daddy. He was the guy with the money. Dick Weiss was actually a city Miami policeman, a motorman that told Flanagan that you can pick up bars and their location and everything if they have an outstanding tax balance. You can go in, pay it off, and take their liquor license.
Nice.
Yeah, so he was
That's
doing that
that's
all over the
big
place.
money there.
He had
Wow.
135 of them.
Holy smokes.
Yeah, and he was taking all these liquor licenses and stuff, and he made Big Daddies, and it was extremely popular in South Florida and in Philly and in Georgia there was some, in California, LA I think there was one and stuff,
Nice.
and big joints and all, and for like 30 years, and it was. But Dick Weiss was the guy that owned the bar that Vinny bought, and so Dick stayed on to show Vinny how to make money in it, and he taught me. I was an
that's
ex-policeman.
great.
He loved me,
Wow.
and taught me the business. So I learned the bar business from the best. And so I get behind the bar, and it's a little, This is the mid 70s or 77 and 76 and 7. There was no Miami Vice. We were not popular. Police were not popular.
Yeah.
People did not like us. Miami Vice came along, they loved us.
Right.
But that was later on in the 80s. It was after that. So I'm not a policeman anymore. I'm an ex-cop. Everybody's looking at me cross-eyed because everybody's smoking pot and doing everything else and stuff. And it was sort of hard. I got a picture of a guy in the book, Michael Taylor, that I ran into. He's a bartender.
Yeah.
He's probably one of the best bartenders I've ever seen. You talk about stage presence in your field, stage presence. He had stage
I
presence.
saw him on the cover of a magazine.
Yeah, Miami Magazine.
Yeah.
He was. They did a best bartender in the country contest.
Yeah.
He came in second.
Wow.
And he was he was just him and a couple others. They both had it. You go into a bar and there's 2,000 drunk people in there. Everybody thinks that they're Michael's best friend, and it was
That's his job.
Yeah, that was his job, and he was a natural for that. And he befriended me, and so anything that I had done before, any stigma from the police department or anything like that, colliding with this new group of people I was hanging around with, went away. it went away, and I was brought into that group, and they're friends to this day.
Nice.
You know, they're in the booth, Cockroach, you know, Ray, all these people, you know, and it just it took everything away except for losing my passion. That never went away. Sherry talks about that. She goes, you know, she had mentioned that, you know, we got together, you know, in the 80s and stuff, and you know, as friends, and she goes, there was always something behind your eyes. There was something, and there was. I wasn't doing what I was made to do, you know, that I wanted to do, and I'd lost that, and
So you end up in the bar business. You end up going to Tampa, working at a bar out there.
Yeah,
And then
well,
that didn't work out, or that
no.
did work out after a while.
Oh, that was pretty good. Actually, I sort of, you know how sometimes you put your foot in your mouth and you sort of step on your, you know, private parts or whatever.
I do it all the time.
Yeah, it's
Right?
It's an Italian thing.
That's all right.
And my, you know, like I said, my whole family's from Tampa.
Yeah.
My dad's brothers and everybody, and wrestling. You ever watch wrestling?
Sure.
TV wrestling.
Yeah.
Well, back in the day, there was promoters in every state pretty much, and in Florida it was Eddie Graham, and Eddie was a very, very close friend. He was like my uncle, and he owned Florida and wrestling in Florida. And his son, he had a son the same age, and Mike was wrestling when he got older. And we all grew up together because every summer I'd go to Tampa, and I'd spend summers in Tampa. And so we were all really close and stuff. My cousins, Mike, and everything, and so I got in the bar business, and then Eddie had an airplane. He used to fly the airplane. He flew down to Miami for a bench press contest with his son Mike and my cousin Doug. And I picked him up at the airport, you know, and Mike goes, well, "What are you doing now?" And I said, "Well, I'm a bartender. I'm in the bar business." He goes, "Oh my God!" You know, everybody wants to own a bar.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to own a bar.
I still do.
Yeah, there you go. There you have it. Yeah. And so, he goes, "Well, I'm gonna buy a bar, and if I buy the bar, will you run it for
And you're
me?"
like, "Yeah, right,
You know,
right, yeah."
and I go, "Yeah, I know everything." I was a bartender for like 6 months, you know, and I never really went into bars before that. I was working out all the time. I was a police, you know, shooting and practicing, and I never went into bars and stuff. You know, I didn't have a clue. You know, all I know is 6 months I've been like mixing drinks and stuff, and so I know everything. Yeah, buy the bar, I'll get it. You know, I'll probably never see him again. He's not gonna do it. 3 weeks later, he calls my mother up and he goes, my nickname is Skip. Where's Skip at? You know, he says, "I got the bar." And so my mother calls. He goes, "Are you going to Tampa to run a bar for Mike Graham?"
Surprise.
Yeah, I know. I go, you know. And so I went over there and I looked at it and stuff, and it was just, it was an Italian restaurant that he was changing into a bar, and it was like it was Tiffany lamps and red tablecloths, and it was like, what the heck is this? You know, and there was a little horseshoe bar, and I told Mike, I go, "Mike, I don't know what to say, but I don't know if I can come over right now. This doesn't, you know." And he goes, "Yeah, that's okay. Don't worry about it. And so I went back to he was good about it, you know.
Yeah.
He got his brother-in-law to do it, you know, and so they started cranking up, and so I went back to Miami, and Miami, sometimes I early on in life I didn't do the best picking as far as relationships go, one might say, and so. It would step on my private parts doing that too, and so I.
Ouch.
It leaves a mark.
Yeah.
And so I. It was a really good time for me to get out of Miami, you know, because I was getting like tires flattened and guys coming by wanting to beat me up because you did this to it, so and everything. So, so you fast forward a couple.
Did we date the same people?
Possibly, Chuck. Yeah, when you were telling me the thing, I go, "Oh my God." Yeah, poor Chuck.
Math doesn't work, but they might be related.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
That's another interview, but that's a good one. Yeah. So anyway, it was really a good time to get the heck out of Dodge, you know. So I called Mike up, you know, and I go, "Hey, you know, how's the bar going? You know, hey, are you still looking for me and stuff?" And he goes, "Oh yeah, we're making money, we're doing great, That was a big lie. That was a bigger lie than I told him originally, you know. And so every week they had an acid rock band and then a country band, and and that's like a kiss of death in a bar business. You can't do that. And so he was. Anyway, it was a mess. But of course, I didn't realize that. So I had a doorman that worked with me at this bar that I was at, Hunter's Lounge. And where I met Cher. She was standing underneath the
Wait, don't
light.
tell us it.
Okay, yeah. And so,
It's a beautiful part of the story.
yeah. So anyway, so he was the Big Daddy's Corporation, 135 lounges.
Yeah, yeah.
They had a strike team of 7 guys, and it was a magnificent 7. And these guys were the most dangerous guys you've ever come across. And they would keep order in the bars.
Really?
Yes, because order was not a given.
Wow.
And if they had any trouble with any of them, they'd send one over there, or they'd send 2 of them over there. And there were 7 of them, and it was one was the father of karate in Miami. One was a 3-year karate champion from Japan, and just these dangerous individuals with their hands. And one of them was my bouncer.
Wow.
And at that bar that I was at, and so he was sort of looking to get away too, and so I said, come on with me. Let me show you this bar in Tampa that I got. And I took him up there, and he goes, yeah, I'll stay. Because I was a little timid. Tampa's it could go bad a little, and in the bar business, when it goes bad, you get like knots on your head and things like that.
Yeah.
Guns go off and all sorts of stuff. So I'm thinking, this would be great. I got Steve here with me.
Yeah.
I'm safe, And so he would keep a room safe. And when I met him, he was he went to the University of Miami, psychology major. He could defuse anybody without touching them and stuff. It wasn't always the thing. When he was younger, he was a dangerous individual, but he had worried about karma and everything, so he wouldn't touch people. But anyway, long story short, he comes with me. So the reason why I say that is Mike had bought the bar and the house behind the bar. So we were living in the house, me and Steve, and they come in there. And so we get there, and they're losing like $5,000 a week.
Ooh.
So we've, Steve and me, especially Steve, spent all his money to get there, and he's not happy. And that's why I brought him up. He wasn't happy. He's going, looks like to me we're going to be closed in about a month. And I spent all my money to get here, and you better go do something.
No pressure.
Oh, yeah. So I'm going, well, what do I do, Steve? And stuff. So I got, out of desperation, I got a lot of coffee, and I locked myself in the building, and I got colored pencils and a big drawing and a T-square and stuff that you learn in junior high school. And I went in and I revamped the whole place. I redrew it according to Dick Weiss. What would he do? And he told me how to do all that,
Wow.
And so I went in there and I did it. I had a big dance floor, and I had the lights spinning. And this is back in the disco area with the spinning disc jockeys and stuff. And we had top 40 there. Anyway, and a big bar, big 40-stool bar, and elevated area. Everybody's eye at the same level. The meeting place, mirrors, beautiful. Everybody loves mirrors and stuff. So I did it, and I made it look really good. And I didn't think it would fly. It was just so I wouldn't get killed when I went home. That's the only reason. And I could go back to Miami and get killed by the crazy girl that was. Yeah. Let her do it. At least it probably would hurt as bad probably. But anyway, so I had there was a couple of partners there, and we all sat down, and I go, Steve said, just go in and show them this and tell them, you got to do this or close, And I go, okay, Steve. Steve was very tall. And so I went in there and I go, hey, you got to do it. And it looked gorgeous. It was all colored pencils. It wasn't, if I was a mistake or something, I'd rip it up, start over again. It was gorgeous mechanical drawing. And they looked at it and they go, yeah. And I'm going, oh no, no more stuff I don't know. All I know is to make a scotch and water. That's all I know.
But they got it done.
I found a guy. Yeah, I found a guy, and he built it for us. In about a month, we had lines around the place.
There you go.
Yeah, it was great. Steve handled everybody at the door. We had no intimidators, no bullies in the place. Nice. Steve was the only one, and we had all the wrestlers: Dusty Rhodes, Andre the Giant. We had everybody. The place was like a circus.
Wow.
And it was great. Lines around the joint, and I don't know. Yeah, here it is. And Steve's, oh, good job. Oh, thanks, Steve. You live another day, you know.
So you hung out there for a few years.
Yeah, we had like 4
succeeded.
years. Mike's wife found him running around. She sort of rented an apartment and camera, much like that one, and videos and everything, and said, "Okay, time to sell the bar." And I had ownership. I was part owner in that thing. Mike had given me ownership because everything worked out so well, and so I had to get out when he got out, and so. You know, he called me up one day and says, we're selling a bar. And I go, what are you talking about? The place is great. You know, he's going, no, what's her name's going to leave me? And it's going to cost me $1 zillion and stuff. Yeah. So that was 1980. So we went for about, 3-4 years.
Nice.
With just, a ball. It was just a ball. Still had that cloud hanging over me, but the rest of my life was pretty good. Wasn't complete, but it was good. Went back to Miami and carried on tending bar and had some great places with my friends I stayed in that until. And like you said, I sort of carried over the watch my customer and protect and serve my customer thing. I always did that, and I carried that over. Much Michael always told me, he said, don't do that. It's none of your business about anything over the bar. It's none of your business. And I go, well, Michael, I can't let this happen to these people. I can't, he never agreed with it. But long about 1984, one of my buddies, because in the bar business, it's, there's a lot of people with different,
professions.
Different professions, yes, different professions. and nobody's pointing fingers, nobody's judging and stuff. So anyway, this one gentleman, he was actually Lionel Barrymore's illegitimate son.
Wow.
Yeah, big, tall guy, looked just like the old Lionel Barrymore guy and stuff. And anyway, the FBI came calling, and a lot of times what they do when they come in to arrest you, they'll call you on the phone. And they'll say, we're coming by, we got a warrant, we're just going to take you down, you can bond out later if you want and stuff, but we're going to come and get you. So they don't run into the wife and the dog and the kids and everything. And just be outside, jump in the car and let's go. And so they called him on the phone, and he jumped in the car, but he drove away, And so he threw, a few $100,000 in his trunk and some cocaine, and off he drove. And so he was on the run. And he hung up, and he went to like one of the nicest hotels in this city that I was, no connection there, but and he got the penthouse, and he was in the penthouse, hiding out.
Low profile.
Low profile in the penthouse, yeah. And he stayed there, and until he was trying to get out of town and stuff. And the problem with what happened to him was this is sort of in the book, during. Miami comes up with these illegally kind of things every once in a while, and the judges were selling the information. Some judges, criminal court judges, were selling the contact information for some of the witnesses on drug trials. Yeah. So the drug dealers were paying the judges $50,000 to $100,000 for a name and an address. They would go have the person dealt with, and then the crime would go away. The warrants would get, the charges would go away because there's no witness anymore. And they called that Operation Court Broom. And that started, law enforcement found out about it in the early 80s. So it had been going on for a few years. And that's what this guy was going to fall into, because he was dealing with a very dangerous individual to buy his drugs from. And he was they put him in jail, and he'd be killed in jail, is what would happen. And they finally prosecuted some of they started with 15, and finally prosecuted, I think, 3 of them. They all got 15 years or something. But it was real. It was real. They were selling information, some of them, and to the drug dealers, and the informants were getting killed. And I didn't really know about. I'd known a little bit about that, knowing police and law enforcement the way I did and everything. So I knew he was in trouble. So I went and got him. And I took him to Vermont in the car, and I planted him in Vermont, and then I stayed there. We were going to buy a bar and up there, and I stayed there for probably 9 months, and it got cold.
Yeah.
It got cold.
It's cold up there.
Yeah, yeah. One day I woke up, it was
Florida
December.
boy.
Yeah. One day
What the hell is this?
Yeah, what is I
This
see
white stuff coming out of the sky.
Yeah, this white stuff comes down to Miami, but they snort it up before it hits the ground. What's going on here? My bones are aching and stuff. And I was on the next plane back to Miami. That was the end of the show there, and so I went back to Miami. But when I got back, I had to wait for a good bar job.
So you were out for 9 months. So
Yeah, I was out for 9 months. Yeah. So I was out of the flow because I had left a really good job and stuff. And but my buddy sort of needed me, and he was really a good guy, and I knew they were going to kill him. If he had because of that court broom thing, and so there was nobody else that could do it, and so I did it, and then I came back and.
You mentioned you got in a little bit of trouble. You got involved with another business.
Yes.
When you came back to Miami after leaving Vermont.
Yeah. It was sort of a placeholder a little bit because I was waiting in line to get into one of the spots for a good bar.
Yeah.
And there just wasn't anything open at that point. And they come they come around every few months and stuff. I slip into one. I knew everybody down there and stuff. So so I was just sort of hanging out, and I was living in a sports book. There was a sports book in the afternoon. It was my and this other guy's apartment during the day and stuff. And it was interesting. It was a bunch of guys, everybody having fun and stuff in Miami. And this one guy that was part of it was he had a business. He was selling marijuana and cocaine to some people in Philadelphia. They were all professional people. They owned restaurants and bars and all sorts of stuff and everything. And anyway, it was them, and he needed somebody to transport. And so, I felt at home on the road. There wasn't a problem there. And I jumped on it. It put money in my pocket, and until I could find a bar job. And so I.
How's this work? You just throw a bunch of stuff in your trunk,
Yeah.
wrap it up in a suitcase or whatever, and.
Yeah.
You just drive up there, nothing happened. How you doing, Bob?
Oh yeah,
That's it.
Yeah,
Huh?
yeah, that's it. Yeah, well, you try to look unassuming, and
So you're driving a regular car,
regular car,
not a
like
hot rod or anything that would attract any attention.
No, nothing like that. No facial hair, a tie,
Oh,
a jacket.
wow,
Yeah,
nice.
you gotta look like a salesman or something.
Wow.
Yeah, a car like like a Olds Cutlass or a Chevy Impala kind of thing.
Yeah.
And someone with a big trunk.
Yeah.
You carry about 300 pounds or so.
Wow.
Or and then a pot and then cocaine, whatever you can stick in there if you want, and stuff. So, it was something like that. And you throw it in the back and away you go. And you never, and the speed limit back then was 55, so you go about, you don't go 55, you do about 59, 60, and just to show that you're not afraid.
Is it like 5-year fine, 10-year fine? Is that what you police guy said?
10 10 miles over the limit. You can't. Yeah, that's the breaking point. Yeah. They, in some cities they can't pull you over unless you're doing 10 over the speed limit.
Calibration.
No, it's just that by law. They were, small towns in Georgia and stuff, they were pulling people over for 2 miles over the limit, just to give you a ticket and get revenue for the city. Yeah. So they mandated a law that said someone's got to be doing 10 miles over the limit for you to stop and give them a ticket. So,
we don't know if that's still, so don't speed.
Yeah, not really sure
don't know if that's still in effect.
if that holds water now, but
You're driving Miami to Philly straight through. You stop. 18 hours.
Yeah, I would.
55-ish, 59.
Something like that. Well, the route is a big deal, So you stay off 95.
You don't do no.
No. You stay.
That's
Well,
terrible.
you stay off 95, especially in South Florida. So you take. You take maybe the Turnpike or something up to Palm Beach, and then you jump on 95 if you wanted to do that, or just stay on the Turnpike and get on 75 and take 75 up, and then take 75 over to Charlotte up that way, and then take 77 from Charlotte.
So it wasn't a straight 95 run.
No, because 95's hot. Yeah, 95, they're looking for you,
Wow.
Yeah, you just stay off 95.
Did not know that.
Yeah, you stay off 95, and you go 81, which runs on the top of the Appalachians.
Yeah.
It brings you
Come in
into
the back way.
Yeah, back way. It brings you into Carlisle, Pennsylvania, and the Pennsylvania Turnpike. And you go all the way up there, and you take that, and a real pretty route, and it takes you up to Carlisle. You get on the PA Turnpike, and then you shoot into PA from there. You know, but I was going to Morgantown, PA. You know.
How long did you do that?
Did that for the next 3 years. It was 84, like 85, 86, 87.
How old are you?
Back then, I was in my 30s, 31 or something like that, somewhere in that.
This is a middle management job.
A middle management job, yeah. You know,
wore a tie.
I wore a tie. I had you know, clothes hanging in the window.
Sure.
I had you know, it looked like you know, never got a second look, and every once in a while they come up next to me and stuff, and they look, and I just no facial hair.
How you doing?
Nothing. Yeah, hey, yeah.
So you ran into some trouble at some point.
Yeah, the guys in Philly got arrested and sort of informed on us. Yeah, so anything that happened to me was
rat.
yeah. It was conspiracy. Yeah, I never got caught with anything in my hand, and so, you know, it was all conspiracy. But those stick too. Yeah, and so it was like 9 counts of aiding and abetting and conspiracy to do this and that, and each one like 25 and 30-year numbers, and they added up, you know. And I really didn't. Evidently, I didn't do the math before all this. You know, I did always think, you know what can happen with this big guy, and can you handle going to jail and stuff? And I always knew that you know, yeah.
But you have a good lawyer, though, right?
No. You go, yeah.
Is that part of the deal?
That is part of the deal. If the person you're working for lives up to the deal. He did not live up to the deal. I had a public defender. Yeah. He abandoned me. Yeah. If you do something wrong that gets you in trouble, then it's on you. Yeah. But you know, this wasn't me. This was his people and stuff. And he pretty much abandoned me. Yeah. So
you're stuck with a public defender.
Public defender, which actually
federal charges.
Yeah, serious federal charges, and which actually he worked out really well. Yeah. Because he had it entered into, and we went to trial for this stupid thing, you know, and that's not the thing to do either. But he had it entered. He made sure it was entered into the transcripts of the trial, the weight that I was dealing with. And so it was only a couple 100 pounds of pot and like a kilo of cocaine. And is
that a lot?
No, that's not. Yeah, it's, you know, the hundreds of kilos and stuff.
Wow.
But it's a few $1,000s, you know. I mean, it's what, $10,000 maybe or something like that. Which and you get, the more money involved, the more trouble you're in. Yeah, with the federal government. Gotcha. And so it was when you go to trial and the judge gives you something. It really doesn't matter back in the old days. It doesn't matter what he gives you. It's what the parole board gives you. So you're going to see the parole board a couple, you know, whenever after you're sentenced, and they go in and they doctor your sentence up, and they look at you a little more individually and stuff, and they go, well, you're not a bad guy, and I'm going to just give you this and this. And there's a level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, level 6 is if you're in management. If you're in management, they will not see you. They don't like managers. They don't like manipulators. The federal government. You know, and I was a worker. I was not in management, and so I turned out to be, money-wise, I turned out to be a level 2. So I went for sentencing. They gave me 11 years, 6 of it locked up, and then 5 of it on parole when I get out. Wow. So basically locked up in South Florida. Yeah. And so I couldn't leave for South Florida, and so I was able to see the parole board. They first had me at a level 6, and because of him, they realized that I wasn't in management and stuff, because he had it all in there. And that was great what he did. It got me like 25 months or something. And so I was looking at 125 years for 6-7 months. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I was in there with the Scarfo gang, you know, and I, you know, I just
about this in the book too. Again, we're with L.A. Carastro and Sherry Carastro, and talking about the bus ride back, and these stories are much more colorful in the book, and you've got to read this thing. What a story!
But I
talks about dealing with the Scarfo gang and some of the things that happened while he was in. Was that in Philadelphia?
Yeah, that was in Philly. Yeah. We were all Italian, so.
Wait, don't give it away here. This is a great story. Yeah. You have to read this for yourself too. It's an awesome story. It's one of my favorite parts. Yeah. So we pivot. We spend 6 years in prison.
So, so after the parole board saw me, they reduced my sentence down to 25 months.
Nice.
And I had already done. I only had like another 5 months to do. You know, and but I mean, I I felt I was dead anyway. I lost the police thing, and I lost my passion. Whatever, I was going through the motions in life. I really was. And yeah, it was good, and I did some good things and stuff like that, but it was always that, and like Sherry said, Sherry saw that. There was always some lonesome thing in my eyes, and stuff, no matter what happened, You know how it is. You just, not complete. And so this was just, I was dead anyway. Who cares, really? And that's the way I sort of felt about it. And I was just going to live in there, and that was going to be the, federal, I mean, you got cable TV, usually they have a 5-star chef locked up, so you're eating really good, I mean, it ain't the worst place to be, I mean, but.
Never thought about it that way.
Oh, yeah, and, totally endorse the federal system. When I was transferred, after they fixed my sentence, I got transferred down to Eglin, and actually I was down there before. I was down there when I saw the parole board, but I was down at Eglin. Everybody has a job. Yeah. You work on the base, and Eglin is a prison camp.
I didn't know they had a prison camp there.
Yeah. Historically they used to call it Club Fed. And it was where Liddy went, and all the the politicians and there's no fence, there's no concertina wire, there's a line, and you can't go over the line and stuff. And you're like a generic Air Force guy is what you are, And you work on the base, and you cut grass, or you work in the air conditioning shop, or the fire alarm shop, or one of those. And there's civilian employees, there's military, and there's us. And
intermingle with everybody.
Yeah, we're there, and we all work together, and we bring our own lunch, and then we go back across the line in the afternoon, and go watch cable TV and work out and play basketball and bocce ball.
Nice, yeah.
Bocce ball was the thing.
Florida,
and so
even in North Florida.
Well, it was Italian. It was Italian. All the Italians. So anyway, my first job was cutting grass. And this is before I found I was still looking at 125 years, and so there wasn't a whole lot out there in the world that I was I caused this, I put myself here, I'm responsible, and I always thought about it. It could, and so there's no one to blame. There's nothing to do but just eat, keep breathing, and do what you do. What else are you gonna do? Jump off a building? There's not any tall buildings around to jump off of and stuff. Maybe I would have, but anyway, I was cutting grass at the ranger camp. Now the Army Rangers are heroes. They really keep us safe. Yeah. They stand in between us and trouble and take bullets and do all those things, and those are they're like knights. And I was cutting their grass, and with another 4 guys and stuff, and they bring us out there. We cut grass, and they take us back into the camp and stuff. So, and all week, and then weekends we have off and stuff. I got there, and I don't know. I'm sort of a grass guy. I like, I was that in Philadelphia, But I was actually a growing grass, like St. Augustine grass. Right. Not the other one, not the Colombian grass.
Right on.
Yeah.
We got it.
Yeah. And, I always, I like, you can make a place look really good.
Sure.
That really, and I looked around, and it was, the ranger camp was way out from the center of the camp. Center of Eglin, it was like 45 minutes to get there every day, and it was its own little area, and there was barracks, and there was the mess, and the civilian employees, and the mechanic shop, and all that stuff, and then the guys, and they would go from ranger camp to ranger camp. And do the training. So the ranger camp in Eglin, North Florida, was the swamp. And so they dealt with the swamp. They put them in the swamp, and they had to find their way out. It's unbelievable. And then I think in Georgia they had one, and it was geared more for something else. And then in the northern United States, it was dealing with mountains and stuff like that. So every environment they were very good in, and they trained in them all. But the one in Florida was the swamp one. So they go out there, they drop them off in the middle of the swamp, and they had to come back. And they actually lost a couple of guys a couple of years before I got there.
Wow.
It was real cold, and they got hypothermia and died. But yeah, it's very dang. And these guys are great guys. And I looked around, and I go, I can. I can. They gave me a tractor with a bush hog, a lawnmower, and a weed eater. And I go, I can make this place look freaking great, And I go, I'm going to do that. You know, and in Florida, you cut the grass and you finish on Friday. When you come back on Monday, the grass is this high, you know. So it's a weekly event, you know. So it takes me all week to get this stuff down. And then I go away for Saturday and Sunday. I come back Monday and it's, and I start over again. And this is like the summers in Miami and northern Florida are 100 degrees. Yeah. So I just got my teeth into that. That's what I was going to do. And it was acres. I had the bush hog and I did acres of grass. I mean, you know, the subdivision that we live in here, it was as much grass as you see here. Wow. It was that much. And but I figured it out. I could do that, I think. The guys that were with me, the other prisoners, were really mad. I got in a fight with one of them. He says, "You're making us look bad. You're making, you know, we don't. What are you doing?" and stuff. And I just get away from me, you know, and stuff. And or I'm going to get the Scarfo gang on you. Oh, yeah. So I just went out and quietly mowed grass. I didn't tell anybody to do anything else. I just did it, you know. And I was there, I don't know, a couple of seasons, you know, 8 months, 9 months and stuff. And I did. I made it look really good. And I was real happy. On Friday, I'd walk around before I got on the truck to go back to camp. And I'd look around and go, yeah. I mean, there wasn't a whole lot to be happy about in life, you know. But damn, my grad, and these guys, and I didn't know if they appreciated it. I didn't know anything. All I know is that I did.
You did it for
know?
you.
And it's for them, you know. And maybe they do. Who knows, you know. And so I don't know, maybe 6-8 months into it, they had a guy, Mr. Hobbs, North Florida, you know, sort of a country guy, that ran the motor pool there and stuff. And he came out. I was mowing the grass near where he was, and he came out and he says, "Get out off that tractor. I want to talk to you," you know. So, you know, I mean, I'm slave labor, you know. I mean, And so I get down off the thing, and we walk into his office, and there was some donuts there, and a coffee, and a Coke, and stuff. And we're not allowed to eat anything except what we have. Yeah. They're not allowed to eat anything off it. And so he goes, "Grab a donut," you know. And I sort of, is that like a trick question, you know? And I mean, this guy was right out of Cool Hand Luke. Yeah. I mean, this guy was like scary.
This is set up.
Oh yeah. He's gonna kill me and eat me. I know it. You know. Oh well. At least I'm going down. I'm happy. You know. And he says, "Sit down and grab one of them Coca-Colas." You know, they call it Coca-Cola. You know. And go have a Coca-Cola and sit down. And so I grabbed that, and I'm sitting there eating my donut and my Coke. And he goes. He says, "This is a small portion of your life. And you're going to leave here one day. And you want to leave with everything you come with." You know, he says, "One day somebody's going to give you a bus ticket and $100, which is what they do, and a bag, and send you back home. And you want to leave with everything you came with." He says, "Slow down." He said, "Nobody is making you cut this much grass. I mean, this guy's worried about my health." And I'm like, am I on candid camera or something? What in the heck's going on here? This man was seriously worried about my health. He's going, you're out there in that sun, you know, just take it easy. We love what you're doing. You're making the place look gorgeous. And this is the first time I heard about it. But slow down. You know, just nobody's making you cut this much grass. Just go out and like do a regular day's work and stuff, you know. So I'm like, yeah, okay, you know. And I'm going, he's probably poisoned the donut and everything. And so I go outside and I never slowed down. I just made it look like I did, you know. But about a month later, I got the opportunity to change jobs, and this changed my entire life. Yeah. And it came from something unassuming as actually cutting grass and not realizing how people respect it at North Florida. Wow. You know. And because they don't change jobs for you. You stay with that job. They don't change you around. They don't mess with you. You're not here to aggravate us. You're here to do your time, and you keep your mouth shut, and you do that. And it looked like they were worried about my health, and I'm like, I couldn't even believe it. And so this one guy was getting out, and he had a job at the fire alarm group. Mm-hmm. So they fixed the fire alarms in the base, and it was military guys, civilian employees, and us. And he was there. He was an illegal lobbyist. And yeah, and he had like 6 months, and he was there for 6 months. And I had been sort of showing him, and he was friends with a friend of mine that I grew up with that was there too, and I was showing him how to work out and stuff like that. So he's sort of like that. And anyway, he said they were sort of worried about kept getting skinnier and skinnier and more suntan, and so they wanted to get me out of the sun, you know. And so I heard find about this later. And so he said, I'm getting out. They're looking for a replacement for me, and I want to give them you, you know. And I think this is good for you. You can use this when you leave here. This is a trade. If you learn this and learn how to do fire alarm panels and electricity and electric, you know, you can do that when you get out, or you can enhance on it. But these guys are very nice, and so he's telling me this. But you gotta change. You gotta go down to where you are right now, change, and get out of that, and get into this new one. Tell me you want to move, you know. And so I said, yeah, sure. But I was going, yeah, but what about my grass? You know, I was my grass. Who's gonna cut my grass? You know, and so I didn't do anything. And like 2 or 3 weeks later, he's getting ready to go. He came to me again, and he goes, what are you doing? You know, he's going, are you worried about your grass? And I go, well, yeah. He says, look, you know, he's a little guy. He's just a little guy. This little unassuming kind of guy. And he says, let me tell you something. He says, you're going to thank me one day. You know, he says, take this job and go down and change what you're doing. And that was compelling when he said, you're going to thank me one day. I go, wow, that sounds sort of heavy, you know. Yeah. So I had to go down and talk to the master sergeant, the Ranger Master Sergeant. Yeah, yeah. You talk about getting killed and eaten and stuff. yeah. These guys are the toughest of the tough, you know, the ones that scream at me. And so I got to go into his office and ask him to do me a favor. That's an easy thing, right?
No problem, right?
Yeah, I'm an inmate. You know, I got rights.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah. How about change me to this now, you know? And so I go in there, and it's sort of dark, and he's in there working behind his desk and stuff, and I walk in, and he looks up, and he goes, I didn't know he knew me. He looks up, and he goes, hey, Larry, how you doing? And I'm like, once again, where's my wallet? I might get killed here. And he goes, here, sit down. He says, and he's smiling. He goes, what can I do for you? And I'm like,
where am I?
Where
Rod Serling walk out?
Yeah, right. Yeah, I'm waiting for Rod Serling to come out. And I go, well, I got a chance to change jobs. And he goes, is this good for you? And I said, yeah, I think it is. I think it's good. He said, you'll be able to maybe do that when you get out, right? And I go, maybe. He says, good. I want you to do it. He says, we all really appreciate what you've done here. You know, and I didn't know anybody noticed. And here's a guy that eats people for a living. And he's saying, you know, we really appreciate what you've done here. And you made the place look really nice. And we really appreciate, and we hate to lose you, but you got your life. And you know, yeah, if this is good for you, I want you to do it. And so he signed me over right away and patted me on the back, and away I went. And that opened the door to the rest of my life. Yeah. I would not be here right now if it wasn't for that. I got connected with those guys at that shop, and there was a Harold Owens that was the head of the department, and he was a civilian employee. And Harold passed away a few years ago. He got cancer, and he passed away at 65, I think, or something. But he, I don't know, Harold, like Adam Adams in the golf driving range or something, I don't know, they sort of took a liking to me a little bit. You know, I didn't say anything. I carried the ladder and did what I was supposed to, and they would go into meter rooms and they'd change out panels and stuff like that, and I would carry the ladder, and I'd have the toolbox, and the guy that I was working with, the other civilian employee, who was a really nice guy, he'd ask me for tools, and I'd hand them to him. Yeah. He'd go, yeah, give me a screwdriver, and he'd give me this, and he'd give me that, and I was watching what he was doing, and it got to where I was just handing him the tool. He didn't have to ask me. I knew what he was doing, you know. So he would go, give me, and give me, and then he goes, why don't you do this? And he gave me that responsibility. They were about ready to give me a truck when I left.
Wow.
And I was installing fire alarm panels and antennas and all this stuff. And it was all sort of spearheaded by the guy running the shop. And he told them, they had school. They sent me to school there. I was going to classes for electronics. Harold Owens stayed very. He was close to us until he died in 2006 or something. And he lined me up a job when I was getting out in Homestead. And that was going to come up later. And he said, why don't you go to school? Why don't you go to school? Why don't you take a no-credit math course and a DC course? And let's learn about electric. Let's get some paper into your name and stuff, you know. So that's when I started going to school at Broward Community. I was up Broward Community, and then I transferred over to Dade. And so I started doing that. And he said, he just said, just take it easy. It's, things are going to happen slow. Slower is better. Yeah. He wrote me a prayer to say. I'm not really a religious guy, but I do know to say thank you when thank you is necessary. And I've always been a do unto others kind of guy. I was brought up Catholic and everything, but Sherry and I are the same way. We just treat people the way we want to treat us, and stuff. And it's pretty simple, You don't have to be a on your knee kind of, person really. And I'm not necessarily that, but I will go the limits to help people if I can. And he wrote me this prayer, and that's in a book too. And said, say it 9 times a day. Say it 6 times a day for 9 days, and what you want to happen will happen. And I go, okay, and he wrote that after I got out, so I was reading it, and so for the next 9 days I said that prayer. Actually for the next 10 years I said that prayer every day.
Yeah. So you get through school,
and it worked. Get
your bachelor's.
Yeah.
You end up with your master's.
Yeah.
Want to go a little further.
Yeah.
And you get your doctorate.
Yeah.
Your PhD in electronics.
I didn't plan on any of that.
Yeah.
I planned on taking a no-credit math course and a DC course.
9th grade algebra.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was because I got to take a test to do college stuff and
all that from that pivot from doing a great job on the grass at Eglin.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Just
you see that, people? Keep your nose clean.
Yeah.
Good things can happen.
You just never know. You never know where it's coming from. You never know where it's coming from. Even when I, if they want 1, give them 4. It's why not? I look at it with my circuits today. I develop circuits.
Yeah.
I develop circuits. If we want to jump to that real quick.
Yeah, sure.
An analogy for the circuits. World-class electronic circuits go into the things I do for the government.
You've got a patent or two, don't
I've
you?
got several,
Several
and
patents.
several in the queue for more. Yeah, when I go to work and invent.
Yeah.
I invent. I go to sleep at night and I dream stuff up, and I go to work and I produce it, and it's the greatest job. It's unbelievable. And I make it, I build it, I send it out to get fabricated, I design it and develop it, and but I start with a blank canvas.
So you're an artist.
I'm an artist. I really am. I'm a Rembrandt, a Picasso kind of guy. And some people go, well, you're working a lot, or when are you going to retire and stuff. It's like looking at Rembrandt or something going, I know you hate them brushes and stuff. You can't wait till you don't get those anymore, So back when you're 60 and stuff, you're probably going to throw them away, go play golf, and never touch them again, right? No way in the world, man. That's what he does. Yeah. That's where his joy is. That's what his life is, and that's the way I feel about my circuits. And one thing I found is you never know how good they can be.
Yeah.
You never know. I battle physics every day. We only know what we have pushed to. You never know how good things. That's why some of my patents have been, for performance and components and stuff. I got a patent for that. That's just off the charts. Because you just, think out of the box. Think, make this thing. When I was cutting grass at the ranger camp in 100-degree heat, I would, at some point during the day, you felt like dying almost, but I can't, because if I stop on Monday or Wednesday or Friday or anything, I'm not going to finish. So there's no stopping. I've got to keep moving, and I got to cut this grass to be done on Friday. And that's what I said I had to do, and so I would start at, sometimes at the head of a big long row of grass, and it's just, oh, Jesus, but I take a couple of deep breaths and start pushing, and not really expecting to make it to the end of the row, really not, but somehow you do, and when I got there, it was like a second wind. I felt like I could do another one. And then it just goes and goes and goes. I did that with school. I do that with every day with my circuits. And I developed things that they haven't ever seen before. They couldn't believe that this thing could do this. And that's the surprise. That's the beauty of life. You know, you just never know, you know, how good a relationship you can have. And a person that you can find in the world until you find
hold
her.
on to that. Well, let's come back to that.
Yeah.
So what I want to just touch on is, in your book, you say that you come full circle.
Yeah.
You started with a desire to protect and to serve, and you ended up protecting it. So tell us how you protect and serve now.
I protect and serve now. I'm developing circuitry for the United States Armed Forces.
That's great.
And some radar systems. And I'm working with a small group of people, and we're doing things that and I've run across another couple of guys that sort of look at things like me that are just energetic as shit and just going, yeah, you know, we can do it. It's not like, oh, well, I'm only going to give it this much time because I got to go play golf or I got to go do this or I got to. No, we're headed here.
Get it done.
We're knocking it out of the park. And so we've given them, we've been dealing with them for the last 2 years or so, 2 or 3 years, and I've gotten awards for it, and we've given them exactly what they want, exactly when they want it, and better than what they wanted. And you know, that just goes back to, you just work on it, you work on it, and you never know, it'll surprise you. You know, it'll do something that you could have never really thought could happen. And so I'm protecting and serving on a much grander scale
than you could have
ever
thought,
done with a single revolver on my side and stuff. And and
that's one hell of a bus ride.
Yeah,
Dr.
that was
Carastro.
Yeah, Chuck. Yeah.
So you told me that as far as the federal charges, that you had a presidential pardon application in the works.
Right. Yeah.
So how does that work?
Yeah, it's they wait a few years after you get released and stuff, and keep your nose clean and stuff, and sort of change your life and stuff like that. And I pretty much changed my life. I guess you couldn't.
You're
change
protecting the United States of America.
Yeah. I think that would carry a little bit of weight. And stuff. And
how's
so
it look? How's the prospect? Look?
Yeah, it's good. It's been sitting on the president's desk here for the last couple of years.
So it's already there.
Yeah, it's there. It made it there.
How can we help make that happen? Do we petition?
Yeah, that would help.
We sign an online petition?
Yeah, something like that. It used to be you get your congressman and he would carry it, but they don't do that anymore. So it's sort of, unless you've got some method of making them aware of it and
I
stuff.
don't think anybody would deserve a pardon as much as you do for what you've already done for your country.
Yeah, I can't imagine not getting it. And they interviewed me. They interviewed Sherry. They interviewed clients at the salon. They did a huge background check, references, all sorts of stuff. The funny part was when they I was working in San Jose at the time.
Yeah.
And so they brought me into the San Jose office, and I talked with one of the FBI agents. He said, "Can you come over? And you get off at 5 o'clock or so." I said, "Yeah, about 6 o'clock." He says, "Yeah, we're not too far from you. Just come over. Come in the office, and you can sit there and we can talk. And I want to interview you, and I want to hear what you have to say about your life and things like that, sort of like this." And so I went over, and the first day I was there, it was like a Monday, and I got there at about 6 and stuff, and we're sitting there, and he was a young kid. He was probably in his late 20s and early 30s, and he goes, "We can do this a couple different ways. I a real nice fellow." He says, "I want to know about you, and I want to know things, but this can take 5 minutes or 5 days. Your choice. Yeah. So I went for the 5 day. I went for the 5 day, and he was literally on the edge of his seat for the whole deal. Yeah. It was just all of it true, all of it real.
It's a brilliant story.
It's an American story. This is our country. Yeah. This is what our dads and everybody fought for. I screwed up, but I was allowed a way back.
Yeah.
And where does that happen other than our great country?
Yeah.
So it was. But anyway, so it's sort of in the process now. So it's percolating away. So
let's work on that.
Yeah.
People, and you can help too.
Yeah.
If you know somebody, make some noise, tweet it, share it on social media, everywhere. Let's get this guy a pardon, because I don't know anybody who deserves it more. Dr. Carastro.
Yeah.
I'm going to tear up. Speaking of tearing up,
Yeah.
who is this lovely young lady to your right here?
Yeah, that's
That's Sherry.
This is the Sherry Carastro we've been talking about. So tell us how you guys met. There's a long story here.
Oh, it's
Something about a bar and a light, and you tell it.
I was tending bar, and I was in there probably my first, when I was still at the Hunters Lounge in Miami before Mike Graham took me away to Tampa and stuff. And you know, it was a weekend night. It was you know, it was a disco-y kind of top 40 DJ kind of thing. It was a dance floor, big 40-stool bar, you know, and I was tending bar away. And all of a sudden, I hear there's somebody screaming at me over there. I mean, there's probably 800 people in there, and I'm here. Look at that bartender, you know. And
Can you do that again for us? Good.
Yeah.
Can you scream?
Yeah.
Right now.
I told my girlfriend Tammy,
Yeah.
hey, look at that bartender.
Is that what it sounded like?
But louder, over the music.
Oh,
you know?
wow.
Yeah, over
That's
the music.
So I'm a nightclub DJ back in the day, so I understand.
Yeah.
You got to be pretty loud.
Yeah, she was. Yeah.
Wow.
I wanted him to hear me.
I'm
So
sure
I'm
he
mixing
did.
drinks and stuff, and I look, and I hear this, and I'm like, and I look over, and there's this can light, and there's this gorgeous girl standing underneath it looking at me with her little shorts on. She just came from where she worked, and she's got her doers and water in her hand.
Oh, boy.
And she's standing there, and I'm like, and it was like time stood. You ever watch that movie Big Fish?
Oh, yeah.
Big time stands still, you know, and it was like time stood. It's like yesterday I could see this, and it was like she was there all alone, even though the room was full of drunk people, and but she's there like all alone, and I'm like, and so I look back down and I do this, and I look up and she's gone, you know, just like in Big Fish. Yeah, it speeds up, time speeds. When it stops, it speeds up, you know, just like Big Fish, and she's gone, and so I'm like, what the heck? Another person that did see her was the one that ran me out of Miami, kind of thing. So a little bit of conflict there. Yeah, a little bit of conflict. Yeah, she sort of chased after Cher after that. A little bit, you know. Yeah. So a little dicey.
She wanted to let me know that he was not available.
Everything. Yeah. So anyway,
I know her.
So anyway, so that was 1977. I went to Tampa right after that. And, you know, never forgot about Sherry.
Did you guys meet? Did you guys know each other before you left for Tampa?
No.
You just saw her that one time at the bar, and you just kind of knew she was in the neighborhood. Or
I don't know.
Was she a regular?
No, I never even saw her before in there at all. But she sort of was, yeah. But I never saw her in there and everything. I never realized she lived around the corner from me.
You sure it's the same woman?
Oh yeah. No, there's only one. Yeah, no, that's it right there. That's her.
So how'd you guys ultimately get together?
Well, it wasn't that easy. I went to Tampa. I was there for 3-4 years. Sherry got married in the meanwhile. Her husband turned out to be a bit of a dud. I came back into town. His lost mine. And I came back into town in 1980. I started tending bar. We were both friends with Michael Taylor. We were both very good friends of Michael Taylor.
Seems like everyone was friends with Michael Taylor.
Yeah, especially us. We were in the inner core, sort of. But I didn't realize, I didn't see this other part of the core, you know. And so when I came back into town, you know, and Michael was going to, Sherry's husband had bought this bar.
Yeah.
And Michael was going to work there, and he pulled me in there. So now I'm working for Sherry. You know. So here's Sherry again. There she is again, you know. And so
Did you remember that this was that bar?
Oh, yeah.
We had our first employee meeting.
Yeah.
And I
What is
walked
she
in,
doing here?
and he was sitting there. I'm going, oh my God.
Yes.
There he is.
There he is again, yeah.
I was married.
Yeah.
You know, and then I also got married in the meanwhile, so I was sort of married too. But anyway, that's another story. But I worked there. I worked there for I don't know 2 or 3 years or so, and we were just really good friends. Never did anything inappropriate at all. I would never do. I never run Sherry through anything like that. You know, you respect somebody and you love somebody so much, you don't want to ever have them hurt or anything like that, and that superseded everything. But not that that was even an option. It was just we were friends, and that was great, you know, and that was better than anything. And so she got divorced. I got divorced first. She got divorced. We were still friends. We were still good friends. But that was approaching 87, 88, the time that I got indicted and everything. We had a chance to get together then, but the federal government
You were a little busy.
Yeah. My dance card was a little, yeah. And I wasn't going to drag her into that. I wasn't going to have her wade in, all that other. No. Sherry deserves the best. She doesn't need a broken piece of whatever like me. Does not need damaged goods in her life. She's got away from that. She's not with that anymore. She deserves the best, and I'm not going to confuse her by tugging on her heart and for some end that I would want and stuff. So that was it. And when I got sentenced, I called her on the phone, tell her what was going on, but I said I'd see her, but I wasn't planning on ever seeing her again, because I'm damaged goods. What am I going to bring? What am I going to enhance her life? What is she going to? She doesn't deserve that. She deserves the best. She can get the best. She's the best. She doesn't need somebody that's damaged. And it's like wheeling me around in a wheelchair or something. And so I was bound and determined never to crank up anything with her. And I could have, I think, real easy. We could have. We both cared a lot about each other, but we weren't going to do that. And so I went off. I went to Miami-Dade. I finished at Miami-Dade. And plus I had to study all the time. I'm not a school guy. And this stuff was like incredibly difficult. And especially at Miami-Dade, and I had to make A's to, because, I had to, and stuff. And if it's worth doing, you might as well, get an A in it and stuff. And so it was incredible. So I was spending all my time. I was working out and I was going to school, and that was pretty much it. And I got into Georgia Tech, got accepted over there, which was worth all my hard work and stuff. And I left. My buddies gave me a going away thing, and off I went. I went up there, and I was up there a couple of semesters or something, or quarters that we had up there. And it was Christmas break, and I came home for Christmas break. And I went to the gym. I work out, and I rented all my buddies that I've been working out with since the 60s.
Still there.
They're all there. Yeah, they're all there. And I'm in there, and I'm in my gym, and I'm training, and it feels great and stuff. And I had a good quarter at school, and everything's great, and everything's moving ahead, but Sherry's not on the menu in the least bit. I still really haven't, haven't realized where am I right now. I haven't really evaluated that or anything. I'm still damaged goods, and I'm out. And so my buddy comes in, Mike English. Been looking for him. I can't find him. Where is he? I don't know. He comes in and he goes, "Hey, how you doing, Skip? Hey, what are you doing? I'm doing benches. Hey, can I do it? Yeah, come on, we're working." So he goes and he changes clothes, comes out. We're doing benches together. So when you ask who this is here, and I lost my breath for a moment, that always happens when I say Sherry. I get like goosebumps, even now. And so Mike, lays down, does his benches, I lay down, and then he goes down to do his next set, and he goes, "Do you know a girl named Sherry?" And I was like, it's like, and I look, and and Sherry had a salon down in Miami, and he had just seen her a couple of weeks before. He says, "Have you seen her lately?" And I go, no, I haven't, and he goes, "I think you better look her up," because evidently Sherry never told me what she told him. To this day, she won't tell me, but she told him something. I don't know what, but he said, "I think you better get a hold of her," And so, because everybody was after Sherry. Sherry's a good court.
Oh.
So, anyway, so she, so he goes, "Let's call her, right? Let's call her. Let me give you her number. You can call her." I go, "Yeah, okay, I'll call her. After let's finish chest. I'm not doing my workout. Mess up that. And so he goes, "Yeah, okay. No, wait a minute. No, we're going right now." So he grabs me by the arm, pulls me over to the payphone. Payphones back then. This was like 1992 or something like that. Yeah. And rolls me over to the payphone. He goes, "Ding, ding, 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 ding." He goes, "Sherry, I got somebody for you to talk to." So he hands me the phone, and I'm just, all this shit goes through my head. I'm going, no, what's changed, I still just got off this bus a couple years earlier. I've got, but maybe not. Maybe, I don't know. I'm sort of an engineering student at like a top 5 school in the nation. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I'll, okay. Hey, Sherry. And so she says, "Get over here right away." And I'm going, "I'm doing benches, She goes, "All right, we're having a Christmas party, come over tonight at the salon." And so I went home, got cleaned up, went over to the salon, and we were together for the next 3 weeks. and that was it.
Yeah.
We were going to get married a couple months later.
Wow.
And off we went to, I was already in Atlanta, you know. Cher dropped everything, sold a salon, came to Atlanta.
My clients
yeah.
thought I was crazy.
Yeah.
I met this guy,
Yeah.
and in 9 days,
Yeah.
I was getting married.
Yeah. But there was a lot of history there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
you
then
know,
when I told
understand
them the
that,
story,
right.
Yeah.
they understood.
I
because
think that's a whole other book.
Yeah. That's what Brenda said.
The Sherry and Skip story.
Yeah. That's really and they and she came up there and just I told her the real moral of the story here is, you know, I did a project for an instructor that quarter before I left, the last quarter of before Christmas break, and as usual, I'm mowing all the grass and I'm doing all this, you know. They want 1, I give them 9, you know, and stuff. And my mind was set on making this. It was an amplifier. It was an analog amplifier, and I worked like hell on it. And I almost blew your finals and stuff. You got a week to do. You study for your finals. They give you and stuff. I was chewing into that. You know, nobody works hard on a design project like that because it's only worth 1 credit, you know, and stuff. So they don't really do it, and they sort of laugh if you do it, you know. But I have no volume control, you know. So if they want it, it could be worth 1 or 1,000,000. I don't care, and I'm coming, you know. And so I worked like hell on it. Gave it to him. I found out it was the best one he's ever seen, and he hired me as a research assistant.
when he was an undergrad.
When I was an undergrad. How did that, you know, here's another thing, monumental, Adam Adams picking me up and going, you know, hit out these golf balls and stuff. And he hired me as a damn research assistant at Georgia friggin' Tech.
Wow.
And so I worked for him for the next 6 years. And I started getting, you know, I started getting A's. I was able to get in the master's program because of that. Because you had to have a 3.0, and I had like a 2.98 or something. And it got me over that. It got me just, you know, into the PhD I can tell you another story there. But what I'm trying to say is, Sherry's coming up, and we're going to get married in like a month or so. Mm-hmm. And Martin asked me, you know, I want to hire you, you know.
Martin is this.
Martin was my advisor. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a New Zealander. He's crazy. He's the greatest
Nice.
guy. And he goes, I'd like for you to work for me. I want, you know, because of what I did. Mm-hmm. Here I am, 40 years old. Here's all these kids at that school that are 18 and 20 and bright and everything, and he's picking me, you know. And I'm going, what? Again, it's like Mr. Hobbs, you know. And so I'm like, what the world? And so I go, you know, can I let you know? You know, here's like an opportunity of a lifetime, and can I let you know? I had to call Cher. Cher's coming up.
Yeah, right.
You know,
right.
we're not going to be able to do anything.
Right.
You know, I call Sherry and I go, you know, I've got this opportunity, and Sherry's going, okay, what's the problem? She goes, well, you're going to come up, and we're not going to be able to go to the movies or anything. I'm going to be working all the time. I mean, I was working 90 hours a day anyway, you know, and now I'm going to work for Martin. I'm going to be taking on all this other responsibility. And I said, we're not going to be able to go to movies or anything. Sherry goes, I've already been to the movies. Go tell that man yes. Are you kidding? Yeah. And let me tell you, she meant it. And she just, you know, when we finally bought our first house a couple of years later, it had multiple bedrooms because we had a 1-bedroom apartment. And we moved in, and we were moving in, and we were trying to figure out where we were going to put my office and stuff. Sherry comes along and goes, oh, this is great. This is after like a couple of years. This is great. I don't have to be the room girl anymore. And I'm going, room girl? What are you talking about? And she goes, well, I never would come out of the room because my office was in the living room, and she didn't want to disturb me, so she never came. When we come home, and she'd stay in the bed and go to sleep and never come out until the morning and stuff because she wanted to disturb me because I was studying and everything. She came out one time to put my hair out because the light was caught my hair on fire when I was trying to read this thing. But other than that, she, you know, and I'm going, oh my God, you know, you're the room girl. Yeah. And so
You did all right.
Yeah. Sherry just, you know, held me up and just fed me and sent me off to school and tied my thinking cap on. And
That's great.
And
You guys look pretty darn happy.
Yeah. It's pretty good. Yeah, things are sort of rolling down the road.
Her haircut's got any better over the years?
Oh man, I was her first haircut, of course. Yeah,
That's what I've heard,
1983 or 4 or something.
How'd that work out?
Well, it was 3.5 hours to get the haircut, and then another hour to get it fixed.
Oh,
Yeah.
my.
It wasn't a natural.
Yeah, and yeah, Sherry was not a natural. Yeah,
It takes some of us a while.
she's like Michael Jordan, and then he couldn't play basketball when he was younger and stuff.
Yeah.
And he,
Well,
like,
you
turns into-
figure it out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Just-
was determined.
Do you still cut his hair now?
Oh,
Yes, I still
Yeah,
cut
it looks
his
pretty
hair.
good.
Yeah.
Is that your natural color?
Yeah, that's
Really?
the real deal.
So what are you, like 56, 57 years old?
Yeah, and plus 10. Yeah.
What?
Yeah, 67.
67?
Yeah.
What's
Yeah.
your secret?
I don't know. I think that 12 years in the bar business. I think the liquor and everything. I think it really,
Pickle,
did
yeah.
some kind of pickle kind of thing and stuff.
Nice.
Yeah, no, it's just.
You're
it's just-
67.
yeah.
So as you said before,
Yeah.
no chance of retiring. You're just going to keep making those circuits,
Oh
aren't you?
man, they're only getting better. They're only getting better.
It's exciting, isn't it?
Yeah, now I'm writing things and stuff, so that's part of the
So
repertoire
no
for
golf
us.
in your future.
No, I've already
that's it.
played golf.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did that in the '60s. That was that. That's the end of that. Yeah, this is just. I start with a blank canvas, and I create world-class circuits that, dazzle some people and stuff. And it's just. And I'm not saying that to brag or anything. I'm
No,
just saying
that's-
it to. Damn, that's right.
I mean, considering where you came from and what you've been through, it's almost miraculous.
I
It really is.
I can't even believe that I look around and I look at the environment I'm in and the people that I work with and the caliber and the people, and mostly the people that I influence.
Yeah.
Because I can get a hold of somebody and I can do a little work with them and stuff. I can get them over little hurdles and stuff because I know they're out there and I sort of know about them, and I got I think I got a good way about that. And I think the best thing you can be in life is a good influence.
Absolutely.
And I'm able to do that.
You're giving
now.
back?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
The way people gave back to you?
The way they gave back to me. I had
That's
angels
great.
in my life.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it sounds that way.
I can't do enough. And I get people and people at work, younger guys that come out of college and things. I high school people at the salon. I was talking to everybody's son. Daughters. And daughters. Yeah, they weren't sure what they wanted to do and this and that. And I just give them a little talk about the Scarfo gang and from soup to nuts.
Yeah, right.
And just bring it all into proportion, and they just look and they pick up every bit of it.
I have clients would say, Sherry, do you think Skip can talk to my son? Or do you think Skip can talk to my daughter?
Yeah. I wish I had him around when I was young. I wish I had me around when I was young.
Yeah.
But it
I
was.
wish I had you around when I was young. Jeez.
And but I can sort of hit the right notes with him, I think, and I think that's the greatest thing of all. And
Now he's an award-winning author too.
now
Yeah,
I'm
that's
an
right.
award-winning author thanks to
The Indie Originals
Thanks to
2019
Indie
Author
Originals and
Award.
Chuck
Very, very
Fresh.
nice
Yes,
work.
yes,
And
thank
that
you.
book is gaining some traction now.
yeah.
Something about a Miami something going
Yeah,
on?
the Miami Book Fair. Yes, we're invited to the Miami Book Fair, so
Nice.
we're going to have a tent on, and we're going to take some videos. I think we're going to rent a camera or something, take some videos and stuff. And we'll be in.
That'll be great.
Yeah, we'll show you all those when we get done with them and stuff. And it's great. Sherry's. When Sherry left, I came here 7 years ago. It took us 3 years to sell the salon. So Sherry had the salon for 20 years in Atlanta, this big high-end, beautiful salon. And so we had to sell that and finally did. And she had like 400 clients, and it was bloodletting when Sherry left. And it was just, they were the greatest people. She had the greatest clients. They were just fabulous. And they really cared about us. And it was hard. Some of them come here and get their hair done. They were our beta readers. A lot of them were our beta readers when we were writing. They gave us really good, advice and things like that. And it was a bit of. So Sherry's sort of backing off her hair because she did get really, really good. I remember my buddy that used to fix my hair after Sherry would do it. He's going. I'd come and he'd go, God, you let her do it to you again? He goes, oh, I got to see this girl. She must be gorgeous. And I go, yeah, she does look pretty good, Yeah. And she got really, really sort of amazing.
I love it.
Yeah. She doesn't know a dime from a dollar. She doesn't care about anything other than when you walk out of the salon, are you happy or not? And you got that kick in your step and everything. And that's all she cares. That's
Another
all
form
she
of
cares.
art, really.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it is
hard
for me,
to.
definitely.
Yeah, she just, and so she's backed off of that a little bit. Now she's my agent now.
Yeah.
She's really doing good. She found you, Chuck.
That's right.
She
did.
found you.
She
Yes,
absolutely did.
yes.
So tell us where we can get this amazing book, The Bus Ride Back. It's an
Amazon.
award-winning book.
Yeah, Amazon.com. Yeah,
And we also have a Facebook page too.
Yeah, and
Really?
The
Facebook
Bus Ride
page.
Back.
I think I saw it on Target.com too, as a matter of fact.
Oh, Target.
I think it was
did
Target,
you?
yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
maybe over there
Okay,
too. Yeah,
great.
Yeah, anywhere you can
And
get.
Barnes and Noble.
Yeah.
Barnes and Noble.
yeah.
Terrific book.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations. It's a
Yeah.
great story. Thanks for spending some time with us.
Oh, Chuck,
Congratulations
thank you,
on your
Chuck.
wonderful relationship. Many people never find this. You're a very lucky man.
Yeah, very lucky, very lucky on all accounts.
Yeah.
On all accounts. I don't know. I don't know. And now, due to the book, I have a better understanding what happened to me with the police department, and that it really wasn't something that I did, and it wasn't. It was something they did, and they had to act on that, or they really risked.
Everything happens for a
Yeah,
reason.
and so I don't even have that anymore, and that's really strange because I feel different now. It's like this muck has been lifted off of my head.
Writing's cathartic.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that is true.
It's
for him.
true.
Yeah, because the research in the book made me read all those articles and put together, exactly what I was dealing with back in when I was
You can say, hey, this wasn't me.
when my passion was jerked away from me and stuff and all. So yeah, it's I'm feeling I got a lighter step. It's really been sort of good.
Congratulations again, and thanks for
Yeah.
spending some
Thank you,
time.
Chuck.
Thank you, Chuck.
And,
Thank you, Chuck. Yeah.
What's next? What's
Yeah.
the next book?
I think
The Skip and Sherry story.
that
Sherry Skip story.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, I think I'm gonna go into a little bit, maybe a little detail on just the transition of coming to terms. You follow Pink Floyd at all?
Sure.
Dave Gilmour,
Yeah.
Coming Back to Life. That song, the only song he ever wrote, and he wrote the music for, Coming Back to Life, killing the past and coming back to life. I don't know. I get these sort of premonition-y things sometimes. I don't know what that is. I don't know if it's a headache. I don't know if it's something like pizza. I don't know. But I don't know. I was always a Pink Floyd fan.
Yeah.
And I was like, everybody, Dark Side of the Moon. And I never realized who Dave Gilmour was, until the last few months when I saw him play the guitar at 75 years old. I would rather listen to these guys in concert at 75 than any of the records. I mean, he's just amazing.
Yeah.
And his voice, everything, and he plays the guitar, unbelievable. And but I don't know. I just kept listening to his music, and then he would sing that song every once in a while. It was YouTube things I would watch, and what is that song? And then I started listening to it, and it's coming back to life, killing the past and coming back to life, and it really tracks, a bit of my life, and that's basically what I've been able to do is kill the past and come back to life.
That's great.
And I feel like I'm at 100% now.
See, there is hope. No matter what
Yeah.
you've been through, you can turn
Yeah,
it
you just
around.
never know,
Cut that grass. Pick up those golf balls.
yeah. If they want 2, give them 8. I don't know. It's
The American story, ladies and
the
gentlemen.
the American story, our great country. Everybody that lives in the shadow of that flag is blessed. I think.
That's true. Very
I think.
true.
Yeah.